Hi guys, so this is our first technique for brown belt. There's a few different ways that we can do this, and this is just based on people's different levels of athleticism. So look, if you're 20 years old and you're springing all over the place, we expect you to be doing the highest level of this. If you're a little bit older, or maybe you're finding jumping just that little bit harder, there might be another way to do this, but we just want you to push yourself as much as you can for this technique. It's a jump, flashy technique, but we'll break it down from level 1. So the full technique is a side kick, re-chamber, jump spinning hook kick that lands in front. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll show you level 1 of how to do this, then we're going to move on to 2 and 3. So if you find level 1 very, very easy, you need to be moving straight to 2, and if 2 is easy, you need to be moving straight over to 3. So let's start with 1, and then we'll click to another video where I'll show you number 2. So what I'm going to do here is a sliding side kick, so the same one as I might do for my blue belt, which is a side kick, round kick, cross across. Same kick, but this time, instead of throwing the roundhouse kick, I'm just going to re-chamber, and then I'm going to go into my next move. So from here, I'm going to turn that foot, chamber comes up, I'm going to hold a nice strong side kick position, so my knee should be back towards my chest, that knife edge of my foot should be facing the target. I'm going to shuffle off my back leg and throw my side kick and re-chamber here. That's really, really important. So on level 1 for this, I'm going to drop my leg down, look over my shoulder, and then perform a jump spinning hook kick and land with my right leg in front. So here, turn, we'll be jumping off of this leg and land in front. So then it will be going from the opposite stance in that direction. So I'll show you a few more times here. Side kick, we should be very, very competent with this. It's just adding these moves together. So it's that side kick or sliding side kick, re-chamber, foot down here. I'm going to turn, check over my shoulder, bring this chamber in nice and tight, and only extend it when I see my target. And land down in front of it. Just show you a side profile view here. Cool. That's level 1, guys. Now I'm going to move on to level 2. Alright, so now we're moving on to level 2 of that technique. And just remember, in level 1, we dropped the foot here, turn, rotated, and then we went into that jump spinning hook kick. For some people, you might actually find that harder because there's almost a stop and then a rotation into the kick. But for somebody more athletic, it's better to move on and get to a point where you can more dynamically throw that kick. So all I'm going to do now for level 2 here is I'm going to throw this kick, chamber, I'm going to swing my leg down and use that as momentum to drive me and cork me round into this spinning kick. So instead of putting my foot down this time, when I throw the front leg side kick, so that sliding side kick here, I'm going to re-chamber, swing my leg down to the left, and then as I bring it round, I'm corking it up, and it's going to help me propel my body round into this jump spinning hook kick. So as I've chambered here, I cork this leg round to the left, spin it up, and then that's going to help that jump spinning hook kick into my right stance. So it's a little bit harder than level 1, but not so hard as level 3, because we've just got a little bit of spring to pull us around and throw us into that kick. So if I show you one more time front on, and then I'll show you from the side as well. So cool, and just a side profile view. Remember, we're swinging that leg down, rotating all the way around. So option number 3, this is the more dynamic version, and this is actually what the syllabus was made for. So please try and attempt to do this one as much as possible before you even start to think about doing options 2 or 1. And speak to your instructors as well, because they might have some points that they can help you with. I'm just going to go through this in as much detail as I can. It's exactly the same thing. We're throwing that side kick, we're chambering. When I cock this chamber in here, I'm going to use this pullback of this chamber, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to swing this leg in, pull myself as tight as possible, and then cock round for that spinning hook kick that's going to land me in front. So, if I show you slowly, which is quite hard to do, and then I'll try and speed it up for you guys. So, that side kick comes up, turn my foot, travel my target, re-chamber. Now, from here, I'm just going to pull this chamber in as tight as possible, tuck my leg up, and then jump into that jump spinning hook kick. So here, chamber, tuck that leg really tight, and then land in front. Cool. So if I speed that up, one more time. Come on, if I do that from the side. Alright guys, so we're moving on to that second technique now. This one's not so kicky, so you can save your legs for a second. So this one's a jab, sternum elbow, ripping opponent's guard down while angling off to hit across. Okay, so let me just go through that slowly with you to start off with. Jab, we've all done this a million times now, but you've got to keep everything nice and tight. Stance, nice and set, so shoulder width apart, maybe even slightly further, but I'm going to keep nice and tight here. Imagine this is a really, really tight combination, so I'm throwing that jab straight down the centre of the guard. Same thing here, I'm going to split the guard now and I'm going to hit a sternum elbow. So that sternum is the bone that comes in between your rib cage. It's almost a bit of a floating bone here, so if you can hit that right in the middle, it's a really, really nasty point to hit on your body. There's not so much muscle, so there's not much protecting that area. So when I jab here, I collapse into this sternum elbow. So I'm going to take another little step into this sternum elbow here. What you'll see is I've opened up my hand on this side of my face to protect my head. So sternum elbow on this side, my hand is up nice and tight. I haven't followed this leg up yet. I'm going to take this hand round to the back of my opponent's guard. So I'm curling this hand round to the back of their thumb. I'm just going to put my hand a little bit higher so you can see my face while I'm talking here. I normally have this right across my eye line. I'm going to pull my opponent's guard down and I'm going to use this to lever my pivot. So I pull, I lever my pivot round, so that pulls their guard down out of the way and that exposes their face to the right hand side. So I can place that right hand straight into my opponent's head. From here I just pull my hand straight back. So as I've turned, I've ripped this guard, I've created that angle. Here I'm going to pull this hand back up to my head and throw my cross straight into my opponent's face. So one more time from here, it's that step jab. Tiny step to that collapsing elbow. I put my hand up here by my face just to protect as much as I can. So if you go over to our beginners course, you'll see that Phil else uses this a lot. It's a guard that protects most of your face as I'm placing that elbow down into that sternum. I now use that same arm to come out, pull on the back of my opponent's thumb, rip his or her guard down as I pivot, and then place that cross punch into their face. So I'll throw that a little bit faster now. Cool. And if I show you guys from the side, a little bit slower for the first time. So it's that jab, step, collapsing elbow. So it's that point of your elbow that's going to drive into that sternum. Hand now comes out, around to the back of the guard. I pivot and step, and then throw my cross. One a little bit faster from the side here. One thing to note on this technique, once I've pivoted, I hit my cross. If we're doing line work, I'm now going to rotate this back around to face the front. And then I'll repeat that, and then we'll have to do that in the other stance back the other way. So just be competent doing it on both sides. Whether you're in left stance, ripping and hitting that pivot to hit the cross, or you're in right stance, you've hit the sternum elbow, grab the back of the hand and you pivot to hit the cross. These are all techniques that you would have done in green belt, whether it be that jab, cross and step to hit a round kick, or the cross, back angle to step to hit a side kick. These are all things that you've done before, it's just adding them in together. So even though we've done the collapsing elbow before, slightly different this time, it's collapsing straight towards the front, and that's the point of my elbow is hitting the sternum of my opponent. Cool. Alright, so we're moving on to our third technique for a brown belt now. Again, this is quite a dynamic one. So it's a jump, spinning, hook kick, land behind, jump, roundhouse kick. Again, these are all techniques that we've done before in our previous grades. We're just adding them together. Would I use this in sparring? Maybe not, but it's a great technique to show your athletic ability. Again, break these down. So if you're not super jumpy, slow these techniques down, but everybody should be able to do the jump. Just as I've said before, it's tucking that leg up behind as you take that jump, spinning, hook kick to be able to get your height. So, from here, still take that step forwards. Rotate my shoulder around, look over my shoulder. I'm going to jump up with this leg, tuck and rotate this into that spinning hook kick. Land behind. From here, I'm now going to take ever so slightly small step forwards, just propel my body, turn my hips around, tuck this leg up again. So both my legs should be like this as I jump into the air, so I can extend that roundhouse kick out. Land in front. So now I'm in the opposite stance. So one more time, front on here. Guys, always take a reference to some of the other grades, whether it's that jump, spinning, hook kick, or that jump, roundhouse kick. It's just different variations. But right from the beginning, you learn your basic kicks, and then it's variations all the way through. So, step, turn, jump, spinning, hook kick, land behind. So just continue your rotation. This is actually easier to do than landing in front. Turn and open your hips on that little step, tuck both legs up and extend the front leg to finish your roundhouse kick. Land in front. One more time, a little bit faster now. I'll take a side profile view for that. Cool, hope this helps. If you need any extra tips, come and speak to your instructor. But again, reference back on those videos, and that should help you put this technique together. Thank you.
We're on to the fourth technique for brown belt, and here we're going to do a combination of kicks, all from different angles and all from different stances. Now this isn't a combination you'd likely throw in sparring. This is really just testing the individual to see that they can throw basic kicks. Each one of them is relatively simple, but from different stances and from different angles. So we're going to do a front kick, a jumping axe kick, a hook kick, and then another hook kick. So again, this is not one you throw on pads that often, it's not one you throw in combinations in sparring that often. We just want to see how people can do those different basic kicks from different stances. So now let's go into the basic demo. I'm going to try and show you side on, because if I show you front on, you may not be able to see too well. So I'm going to start with a rear leg front snap kick. We've gone through the basics of all of these kicks, so we're not going to go into too much detail here. Look through the previous belts. Front snap kick is in our first grade. So front snap kick off the rear leg, land down in front. Now I'm going to perform a jumping axe kick. Now basic axe kick we've done on our green belt syllabus, so the jumping axe kick, I'm going to bring my rear knee up first, and then I'm going to perform the axe kick with my front leg being my right leg in this case. I'm just going to move it back a little bit so I'm still in frame. From here I'm going to perform a hook kick off my rear leg. We've done hook kick again on our third or fourth grade, so now we're going to perform it off the back leg. Basic hook kick, land down in front, basic hook kick again, land down in front. So the total combination without pausing or stopping, front, jumping axe, hook, hook. I'm going to show you side on because I'll leave the frame if I do it all in one go. So, front kick, rear leg. Jumping axe kick, same leg. Hook kick, rear leg. Land down, hook kick, rear leg. Hopefully I got that all in frame. We need to perform that going up and down the hall, left leg and right leg in front. So when I get to the end of the hall, if I finish whatever stance I'm finishing, I've got to turn and restart again. All off the rear leg. Front, jumping axe, same leg, hook kick, land in front, and hook kick. Each one of those has been broken down in our earlier belts, so go back and have a look at those, and just keep going over it again and again. We're now on to the fifth technique for our brown belt. We're going to be performing a one-step, jumping, spinning, inside crescent kick. Sounds really complicated, but let's break those bits down. So it's a one-step, which means we're going to step first, jumping, which means we're going to jump in the air, spinning, because we're going to be spinning around, and then the inside crescent kick. Before we go on to the complicated kick, let's master the basic of an inside crescent kick. Most of the kicks we do at a higher level, we do a basic version of earlier on. Now we've not done an inside crescent kick on a basic level, so let's quickly look at that first. Again, I'll show you a slight angle so we can see rather than just straight in front. So an inside crescent kick, the idea here is that I'm striking with the inside edge of my heel. I'm going to bring my leg from the outside of my body, has been known to be called an outside crescent kick, from the outside to the inside, and that's how we define this as an inside crescent. It's called a crescent because of the shape that my heel performs from the starting point to the end point. So instead of a straight line across the target, we're going to come up and across here. So my rear leg is going to come up with a bent knee chamber. I'm then going to extend my kick out, striking with the inside edge of the heel and coming across from that start point to the end point to perform that crescent shape. So leg comes up, snap across, re-chamber, lays down on the ground. Show you straight on this time so we can see that crescent shape of my heel. I'll try and do it as slowly as I can. You're really just trying to create a whipping motion with that heel. Slow again. A little bit faster. More of the correct speed that we're looking for. So, come up with a bent knee chamber, extend the leg out, whip it across, re-chamber, land down, and aim for that inside edge of the heel. So that's the first part. You need to perform those over and over again first. Get that basic kick down, and then we can move on to the next bit. Let's move on to the next part of this kick now. But before we do, you need to get the basic kick down and mastered. So keep going over that inside crescent kick until you're happy with it on both legs. So let's move on to the basics of how we're stepping around and getting a hold of that kick. We're not going to jump yet, we'll save that for the last bit. So I want to be able to kick off my rear leg with an inside crescent, but I'm going to spin around before I do that. So I'm going to step around from my basic starting stance. I'm going to step forwards and around. I'm going to start looking over my shoulders to my target, just like I would if I was spinning hook kicking or spinning back kicking. Now I'm just going to take a step with this leg. I'm not going to jump with it or spin kick with it. I'm just going to step, and then I'm going to perform that inside crescent kick. So I'm going to start a bit further back this time. So I'm stepping around, looking, stepping again, inside crescent. I'm just going to show you side on. From a normal starting stance, left stance in this case. Step around, step again, inside crescent. I'm going to perform the other way so you get an idea. Starting in right stance in this case, step around, step again, inside crescent. Now practice that over and over and over again. And the next bit is that we're ready to jump. On to the third and last part of our one-step jumping, spinning, inside crescent kick. So there's a rear leg version and a front leg version. This is the rear leg version. So step, knee up, then we're going to perform the kick. If we're not too sure about any of this, keep going over the basics that we've just covered. So step around. Now instead of bringing this leg down, I'm going to bring the knee up, and I want to point it 45 degrees off the target. If I point it straight to the target, I'm too square on, going to miss the kick. So I need it up here, 45 degrees off that target that I'm trying to aim for. So with my knee up, I'm now going to perform jump, and I'm going to kick inside crescent off the rear leg. It looks really fancy, it looks difficult. It's actually technically a relatively simplistic kick. So I'll show you from the angle, then I'll show you side on as well. So slowly first, step, knee, 45 degrees, inside crescent. I'm landing off the knee that comes up in the air. Again, step around, knee up, inside crescent. Might have to repair the stance afterwards. Again, step, knee, inside crescent. I'll show you side on now. Step around, knee up, 45 degrees. I'm aiming here, but here's where I want the kick to be. Inside crescent. One more time. Step, knee, inside crescent. Off the other stance. Step, knee up. And there's your inside crescent kick.
Hi guys, this is the last technique on our brown belt, and as we move on to our black belt afterwards, we're doing all of the previous techniques from all the previous grades. So once you've done this technique, you've done all the techniques that you need to know for your black belt, but we're going to cover this one now. So it's a shuffle forwards, jab, reverse punch, side kick, jumping back kick, okay? This is going to be done in the air, so these are all techniques that we've done before, we're just adding these together. We've done a jump back kick, we've done a side kick, we've done a jab, we've done a reverse punch or some body shots, so I'm just adding them all in together. So what I'll do is I'll show you first, and then I'll break it down as we go. So I take a step onto that jab, reverse punch, I stand up. As I go into this side kick, jump back kick, I bring this back leg up to throw my side kick. So here's side kick, and then I'm bringing this chamber in nice and tight. I rotate my head round, then pop up my back kick. Hopefully I'm going to do that all in the air. So I'll show you a little bit quicker this time. If I move back, so 1. Now let me break this down. So the jab, I take a big step on the jab, out to the left, or to the right if you're in right stance. What this does is opens up my hips so I can throw this reverse punch down to the body. So I brought their guard up for the jab, stepped out to the left, I throw this reverse punch down to the body, I bring myself back up again. From here, I'm going to skip my back leg up to my front leg to throw the side kick, hopefully while I'm in the air at the same time. It's going to be very, very hard to slow this down, so I'm going to skip up to throw that side kick. I'm going to chamber this in, so it's going nice and tight, a bit like our one-step jump spinning kick. So it's coming nice and tight, and then I'm looking over my shoulder now. So I'm going to flick my shoulder and my head over my right shoulder and look at my target. As I turn, this is where I'm going to pop for the back kick, and I land with my right stance in front. So it's going left, right, left, right, left, right. I'll just show you from the side profile. It's that jab forwards, so nice tight jab, take a step out to the left hand side. Reverse punch comes straight down to the body. I take a skip on that back leg up to my side kick. Chamber comes in, I rotate round, look over my shoulder, and then I pop the back kick, and then I'm standing in right stance. So, a little bit faster from this side profile view. And I'll show you one more time from the front, nice and fast. Cool. So although this looks like a complex move, it's actually quite a few simple techniques just broken down, and it's stuff that you've done previously in your syllabus. So if you get stuck with any techniques, just try and reference those back into points down in the lower grades. Cool. Hopefully that helps.